I know it sounds cliche, but don't let anyone tell you can't do nothing because I had, middle school teachers. I told them, yeah, I'm gonna go play Division 1 football one day. And they're like, that's gonna be hard. Nobody's ever done it from here. So when you really change your mindset from, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that to, no, I get to do this, it makes you a little bit more appreciative of what you have going on in life.
Faith, discipline. What words would you choose?
Only God.
Your faith.
2 words, just only God.
Only God. Amen. Welcome to the ranch. Welcome to Delta Oaks, Micah. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. We're very excited to have you, Micah. So let's start by you telling us a little bit about your history. Who is Micah and where you're from?
Yeah, so I was born in Mission, Texas. So born and raised here in the Rio Grande Valley. I was born in Mission, but I've kind of moved around. So I used to live in Edinburgh, North Edinburgh, kind of where we're at right now. And then I stayed in San Antonio for about a year and a half. And then I moved back down to the valley. Been staying in the PSJA area for all of my life so far.
Yeah, well, we're very excited to have you, Micah, because I think the audience wants to know, and everybody's excited here in the Rio Grande Valley in the 956 area, as some people like to coin it, right? This is going to be historical. This is going to be the first year in history in all South Texas, what we regard South Texas in the Rio Grande Valley, the first college team, the Vaqueros. So we're excited, super excited. I'm excited. Because not only are we going to have like football, high school football on Fridays, right? Now we're going to have college games to watch either here or on, what is it going to be televised, the college games?
They will. Yeah, they'll all be televised on ESPN Plus. So anyone who's got that subscription, yeah.
That is going to be so awesome. And then, everybody watches, NFL games, pro football on Sundays and then Mondays and so forth. So that's why everybody's excited that we're going to have this opportunity to bring that into the Valley, because I feel there's so much talent every single year in the local high schools. It's for whatever different reason. Sometimes they don't get an opportunity to go out there, right, and to try playing in college level, and they might have made it in the pro. Just imagine how much talent has never capitalized on that opportunity. For example, you're one of them. You did capitalize on it. You had an excellent, should I say, career or an opportunity in PSJA, right?
Yes, sir.
You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I went to PSJA North from 2017, graduated in the class of 2021. I've been playing varsity football since I was a freshman. So with that, all that experience, my freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, senior year, I only grew, and I was able to maximize my abilities my senior year by being able to go play at Washington State University in the Pac-12 conference. So that was a huge blessing, a huge opportunity for me and my family for me to go accomplish my dreams that I've had set for myself since I was a little kid.
What do you think, Micah, that sets apart you seen other players and young men or young ladies or the general young generation, right? That maybe they don't do what you did. What do you think? What's the secret sauce to go out there and be successful in sports? What do you see? What's your opinion on that?
I get asked that question a lot by a lot of recruits. Now that I'm a coach, they ask me, coach, how can I be recruited? I'm like, well, first and foremost, there's a lot of kids just like you that are asking the same questions, right? They're asking, what can I do? How can I, get seen? Well, you got to be different than everybody. So, you have to put in more work than everybody. You have to stand out like a sore thumb. Like you have to, sometimes work out 2 or 3 times a day. You have to get a 4.0, 3.5 GPA. Like you have to stand out so much to a college coach that they have no point, or they have no chance to just look at you.
Yeah. And do you think an attribute would be like the discipline to get up early in the morning and do that practice and exercising, and the discipline of eating right and and just do the right thing, staying away from trouble? What was your secret sauce? Would you wake up? What was your routine? Wake up early in the morning and practice, or what was it?
Yeah, so I was fortunate and blessed to have two parents that pushed me every day. They reminded me, "Hey, go work out, go for a run." So, but also on the other hand, there's only so much they can do and tell you, but it starts with you as the person. There's a saying, you can lead a horse to a water hole, you can't make him drink it.
Yes.
So, but um, because of my parents always on me about going to work out, I was, working out super early in the mornings at 6. I would go run some hills by my house, and then I would go to our strength and conditioning workouts with our high school team, and then I would come home, take a break, and then I would end up going to two separate training sessions, sometimes and like back to back in the later evening, like from 5 to 6 and then 6 to 7. There was two back to back different training sessions, but that's how bad I wanted to be different to get noticed.
Yeah. I think that's the secret ingredient, or maybe it's not a secret, and that a lot of people, successful people, do, that they have a common trait, like you said, is you have to have that discipline. You have to turn off all that other noise, all those distractions, and prioritize what's going to lead you into that success, whatever that is. If it's sports, education, business, whatever that thing is for you, you have to turn that noise off. And you were very successful on that, and you're a prime example because now you're a coach for the Vaqueros. I mean, that's awesome. How does that feel, Micah? Tell me, how does Micah feel to be able to say, "Hey, man, I'm making history here in the Rio Grande Valley, and I'm one of the coaches." You're coach for what part of the team?
I am the defensive graduate assistant, and I help out primarily in the secondary.
Okay. Do you see a little bit of yourself on now the players?
I do, yeah. I see, especially these kids that, because we're a first time program, so we have quite a bit of young kids, quite a bit of older kids. It's a mix, but for the younger kids that this is their first time playing college football, I see myself in them because when I was in their shoes, I was just trying to figure it out. I was just trying to, okay, what does coach want? Do the right thing, try to learn as much as I can, and then try to translate that onto the field at 110%. So I feel for these kids, and it's been a blessing to kind of now step back and look at it through the coach's point of view.
That's awesome. So you compliment them. So you're a blessing because you've been in their shoes. You played in Washington State.
Yes.
And how did that feel, Micah? Being out of the element, was that the first time you were ever out of the Rio Grande Valley?
That was, and growing up in the Rio Grande Valley, it's hot, it's humid.
Yeah.
Going to Washington, I had never seen snow in my life, and it snowed in October,
Wow.
and I started freaking out. I was like, I'm probably gonna slip, and I ended up slipping about 3 or 4 times on ice. But it was a surreal experience, and I'm grateful for that opportunity because not only was I able to accomplish one of my biggest dreams that I had, but I was also able to learn so much from some of the highest level coaches and one of the highest level conferences of college football.
So what were some of the challenges that you had? Because now it's different. There's an opportunity for local talent to stay close to home here in the Rio Grande Valley. They don't have to go that far. Let's say you're in Brownsville. Edinburgh is what, 45 minutes, an hour?
45, yeah.
So pretty much Edinburgh is in the middle of the valley. So you're like in a circumference of somewhere about an hour travel time.
Mhm.
You travel how many states away?
It was close to 2,000 miles.
2,000 miles. Imagine that. So that was a bigger challenge. How did you deal acclimating or, to that new environment, new people? How was that?
It wasn't always easy. It took me a while to get adjusted to being alone for the first time because I was the first time I was ever, you know, alone, nonetheless, in a whole nother state by myself. So I had to really figure out how to, not always rely on people, and that's where my faith grew as well because, times did get tough. I was like, man, like I feel lonely, away from my family, but I really relied on my faith to help me push through those tough times. And, um, you know, because of me being so far away, I was only able to see my family like every 2 months. So that was also tough. And just me trying to get situated with the college grind of, okay, waking up at 6, 7 a.m. practices, and then 10 a.m. classes. 3 p.m. study hall, 7 p.m. academic meetings. You were kind of booked all day, every day. And that took me quite a bit of time to just get that situation fixed.
If you could summarize it in the fewest words, what helped you make it? Faith, discipline. I don't know what words would you choose?
Only God.
Your faith,
2 words, just only God.
only God. Amen. Yeah, I'm a strong believer in my faith as well. So, what is different though? Do you see any differences on today's you know athlete coming to college compared to your time? Do you feel it's changed?
Yeah, because back in my time, there was no now in college there's a thing called name, image, and likeness, the NIL, and that's how college players get paid through their image, through their status. So back in my time, there was no such situation like that. So now these kids, right, and they have the right to, all these kids that are good at football, they have the attention, right? They can now demand money from colleges, and whichever college pretty much is the highest bidder, that's the college that they're gonna end up committing to and playing
Wow.
football for them.
Do you feel that's fair?
For the kids, I think it's what's right. I think they have the opportunity to do that. They make a lot of plays, they execute. The coaches, only what we can do is call the plays. But the kids go out there and execute. The kids go out there and play 110% through 4 quarters. So at the end of the day, I think, the kids do deserve a lot of that.
Do you think that's going to create some sort of distraction for your players, or is it going to be a plus?
It could be a good and bad thing. I know there's some players that could benefit from all that money. They could help out their families, their own financial situations. And for some players, it could make them kind of greedy, make
Yeah.
them shop around for a little bit, kind of ask around, hey, who can give me more? Who can give me 1 more million than this team did? And at the end of the day, I think that could kind of destroy teams from the inside.
Well, in your opinion, do you think that might hurt the culture of, that famous quote, there's no I in team, to work as a team? Do you think it might affect the dynamics working together?
I think a lot of kids that rely on that money and they're kind of being greedy, they end up becoming selfish. So it kind of does destroy that team dynamic. And so if you have a team on the other hand that's all they care about is winning, all they care about is the brotherhood, the memories, the chance to be great, that's going to end up being the team that's going to end up winning a lot of games just because they have that belief in each other and all they care about is winning.
Yeah, I can certainly see that. That's going to be a challenge for you coaches, right? To be able to, you want them to excel, but as a team. And I can see what you're saying. If there's a team that you're playing against and they're better willing to sacrifice themselves to give the opportunity to play well, I think that might be something to consider. Uh, so, for the audience, they're not familiar with those terms. And quite honestly, I'm not either. What is that called again when they can pay the players?
Yeah, so it's through something called the name, image, and likeness,
Name, image, and likeness.
NIL for short.
NIL for
Mhm.
short. So that people can Google it or maybe AI Google or I don't know what they do now.
It definitely could. I know there's a lot of articles about NIL and how it's helping teams and how it's hurting teams, but there's definitely a lot of mixed reviews about it in college football right now.
Yeah. So what's the mixture of the team that you have this year? What percentage do you feel or do you know is local talent from the Rio Grande Valley, percentage wise, more or less?
We do have quite a bit of kids that are local talent, so you know it gives that hope to kids from here that if they really want it, they can also go accomplish that dream, knowing that they have a team in their backyard that can watch any Friday night game that they choose to. But we do have kids from all over, and that's I think what makes our team unique. Is we have these different kids from different backgrounds, different upbringings, and when you mesh that together, it's quite beautiful to see. Especially when they start to win games this fall, like it's gonna be a quite big thing to see.
Yes. But what percentage is half the players from the Valley, 30%, 10%?
I would say about 30.
A 1/3 then. Yeah, that's pretty big. And the others, it's a mixture across the nation?
Across the nation, yes.
So how did those other players, Micah, hear about the Vaqueros? How did they go and recruit the talent?
Well, the selling point is, who wants to be a part of history? And I know that was my selling point when they interviewed me. Like, do you want to be a part of history? Do you want to be a part of the first football program in school history? I'm like, sign me up. I know that's the same way with these kids too. Like, who wouldn't want to be in the record books right away, right? You have the team leading in touchdowns. You're gonna be in the record books because that's the first team in history. So I know that was the biggest selling point. The island's a big selling point, and the valley as a whole is a rich culture of football. Just being in deep South Texas, like I don't see why kids wouldn't want to come down here.
Yeah, football is very, very big here in the Rio Grande Valley on Friday nights. It's a form of entertainment, a lot of tradition. For example, here locally in the Delta area, we're from the Rio Grande Valley, but in the Delta area, the Yellow Jackets, it's a big deal here, and the friendly competition they have with the other school districts around the Rio Grande Valley over the decades, right? So there's a strong tradition, a proud tradition, and I think it can be used and maximized to guide the young men into the right direction. So it's a perfect opportunity for them now to go to college, get an education, and excel. Maybe play in the NFL or what have you, right?
Also,
Yeah. So let's go back a little bit about your personal success in high school. So what kind of record did your high school end with?
yeah. So my freshman year, we weren't very good. We went 2-8, missed the playoffs. And then my sophomore year, I got named the full-time starter, and we ended up going 2 rounds deep in the playoffs.
Nice.
Lost to a very good San Benito team that ended up going pretty far in the playoffs as well. Junior year, high expectations, very big senior heavy team. Unfortunately, we didn't make the playoffs. So, now being my senior year, it was like, okay, how do you want your last season to be remembered? So that's when I really started to kick it up a notch on the trainings, started to work out 2 or 3 times a day, would get some of my teammates on board. And that's when I embraced more the leadership role. Like, okay, um, let's not make this last year, not memorable. Let's make it memorable for us and for the community. And what made it more special was it was during COVID. So COVID happened in 2020. Um, our season got shortened down about 5 games, and not every week was guaranteed. Very easily your week game can get canceled just from somebody testing positive for COVID. So I guess that's what made us more grateful to play football because not every week was a guarantee, like I said before. And so we made the playoffs my senior year, and that was a blessing in disguise. We had our second round game canceled because of COVID. Um, and so that ended that senior season pretty abruptly.
Because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, COVID was crazy. It affected the whole world.
Yeah.
The whole world shut down. I remember 2020. Yeah, it was crazy. But that's another podcast, right? But yeah, we can go down the rabbit hole on that one, right? But going back to the Vaqueros, what else can you tell us more about the other coaches? Are there any other coaches from the local area that are going to coach as well?
Yeah. So as a matter of fact, our running back coach, Coach Marco Regalado, he's also the coach that recruited me to Washington State. And we kind of go way back because my junior year at PSJA North, I played his team in a game. He was the linebackers coach at PSJA Memorial. And so we played them week 1. And my senior year, he ended up recruiting me to go to Washington State while he was working at Washington State.
Wow. Networking.
Yeah. So
There's a networking everywhere.
that's my dude. I owe everything to him. And we have quite a bit of coaches from the Valley, but a lot of our coaches have a immense wealth of knowledge. We have about 3 or 4 dudes that played in the NFL, that has stints in the NFL, coached in the NFL. So, and even some other coaches, they're all Americans in college. So, the Vaqueros, we have a staff that is second to none, in my opinion. We can stand with one of the best staffs in the country.
Wow. So what other coaches have NFL experience on your staff?
Mm-hmm. So we have our edges coach, James Lockhart. He had a stint with the Steelers. We had our safeties coach, AJ McDonald. He had a stint with the Chargers. We had our corners coach, Marcus Coleman. Actually played 11 years in the league. Played with the Falcons. Played with the Cowboys. So
Wow.
and then most importantly, our head coach, Coach Bush. He had stints with the Bills. Helped out there. So we have a lot of knowledge there on the coaching staff.
So he coached for the Bills. At what capacity? Do you know?
He was some type of offensive assistant, but I know he helped out tremendously with the Bills.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. They're down here in the Rio Grande Valley, or Edinburgh, Texas, to be exact. So tell us about the facility where the games are going to be held, the stadium.
Yeah, so the games will be at Robert Janet Vaquer Stadium, which is the old Edinburgh soccer stadium. So right now it's currently in renovations. I think they just put the turf down about a couple weeks ago.
Fresh turf.
Fresh turf, yeah. So and that stadium is gonna be rocking. I know the season tickets. There's been a wait list since February.
Wow.
Like if someone wanted to get a season ticket, they would have to wait for somebody to cancel theirs. Like it's gonna be. We're expecting a sold out crowd every home game.
Yeah, I think so for sure. I mean, everybody's excited. You have the whole Rio Grande Valley supporting you, right behind you, your team. So that's amazing. So what do the athletes say? Are they excited, or are they?
They're excited for the opportunity. I mean, they know what's at stake. The first year in school history, but nonetheless, the mission at hand is to go 1-0 every week. They know they have to take every week, 1 week at a time, 1 game at a time. They can't look forward into the future, right? So, but nonetheless, they're excited for the opportunity to be able to play in front of this great community.
Yes, it certainly is. So it's going to be real turf, real grass that they're going to be playing on?
Yeah, they just put down that turf. I know they're still fixing up the stands, even the student section. Like that stadium's gonna be rocking. I know the tailgate section is gonna be rocking. August 30th, our first game against Sol Ross. We're expecting that game to be crazy.
Yeah, that's the first game again now. So what are you all expecting? Anything different from that first game, or what are you doing? Anything differently to prepare for it?
We're gonna treat every week like it's a regular week. It's a regular opponent, but atmosphere wise, it's gonna probably feel a little different just because it's the first game. There's gonna be a lot of buzz, a lot of hype around this program, well, to see what we can do. But nonetheless, on our end, we're just gonna treat it like every other week.
And for those that the fans that we can't get a ticket, you said we're going to be able to see it on ESPN.
ESPN Plus, yes. So
Okay,
that's
ESPN Plus. And is it live, or is it going to be recorded?
No, it'll be live.
Wow, that's going to be amazing. Yeah, I'm excited. Hopefully, I can get some tickets. I've been trying to get some, but if not, I'll watch them for sure. But I want to make it to the game because some of our former guests from the 5x5 brewery were here, and I want to try some of that the beer that they're gonna have there, the draft beer. I believe it's called the Vaqueros, right? Correct? Yeah, the Vaquero beer. So that's gonna be pretty tasty. I mean, a little beer and a little game, local game, college game, watching the local talent is a big winner, man.
Can't beat that.
No, you can't beat it, man. So no, for sure. And so the students or the actual players, how are they adapting to the 956? Have they caught on to the 956 concept or not?
They're loving it. A lot of these kids, right? They're not from here, so they're going to be able to learn how crazy these fans are for football. And this community is what I like about it, is that this community treats them, with so much respect, with so much generosity. Like they're welcomed everywhere, and of course, and that's the same for all UTRGV, student athletes. But for this football team in particular, I feel like these kids are excited just to be here, just to be in a place to where they had the opportunity to be a part of history again. So it's going to be something surreal to look back at, when this program has 5 years, 10 years down the road. Just this first team is going to be special.
How are they adapting to the humidity and the heat? Has that been challenging?
It's taken quite a bit of them to get used to it. It gets hot down here, which, but what our head coach and our strength coach, what they've, prioritized our training method on is being comfortable being uncomfortable.
There you
So
go.
when teams come down here and they have to play in this heat, we're going to be running 4 quarters full speed because we train in this heat. And while the other teams are dismantling in the second half, we're going to be able to run all day. And that's the motto our training coach always tells our kids, you got to be able to run all day. And I feel like they're going to get to that level.
I think that's going to be a big advantage now that I'm thinking about it, right? Because you guys are already going to be used to this heat and humidity. And if you have teams that are not used to this humidity and playing on it, they're going to get exhausted maybe a little quicker, right?
Yeah.
So Saul Ross is the first game. Which is the furthest city or team that's gonna you're gonna play that's gonna come to the Valley?
So we have Nichols. They're coming to the Valley, and they're in Thibodaux, Louisiana, so kind of close to New Orleans. So that I think, in my opinion, that's the farthest team that's going to come down to the Valley.
And what's the furthest game that you guys are gonna travel to?
So we have two, and I'm not sure which one's farther, but I know we're going to Hammond, Louisiana, which is southeastern Louisiana. That's, I think, also by New Orleans, and McNeese State. So that's in Lake Charles.
Yeah, there's the schedule.
Yeah. So yeah, Nichols is coming down. They're from Louisiana. East Texas A&M, they're kind of close to Dallas. That's kind of far as well.
So August 30th, that's going to be the big one.
Mm-hmm.
And then Langston, where's that at?
Oh, you know what? Langston's in Oklahoma, so that might be the farthest team that's going to come down. Them or the Louisiana teams.
And Langston, you're going to travel to play over there?
No, Langston is they're going to come down to Texas.
Okay, let me read that correct. These are the home schedule ones. Okay. So if they're used to Oklahoma weather, that's not as humid. I don't think so as here, right?
I mean, I know it gets hot everywhere, but in my opinion, I've grown up in the Valley. That Valley heat's pretty different. So
it is very different. Yeah. So that's going to be exciting for sure. So how about injuries? Have you guys had any injuries already during practice that are going to affect the dynamics?
No, we've had no injuries. Our strength coach is taking care of our kids.
Knock on wood.
Our strength coach is taking care of our kids. Our medical staff is second to none. They've really, they harp on kids on, if they do have little aches, right? It's bound to happen. Every college team has aches, but when they do have aches, they get back on the field in no time. So I really, kudos to our strength staff and our medical training staff. They really have our kids on the right track.
So how deep is your roster to be ready for those injuries?
We have a pretty deep roster. Our kids, we rep a lot of people. So, in the case of injury, we're going to have players that are ready to step up. That's just our mentality, next man up mentality. So, if it's your time to shine, it's your time to shine. You can't, be a deer in the headlights. You got to be ready to go just like the starter was. So that's the mentality we're going to have every game.
And Coach, how hard was it to recruit talent down here? Did you have that? Was it a challenge at all? I mean, did they say, I don't want to go to the Rio Grande? Where the hell's that? Did you have that type of attitude, or was it pretty easy going? Or?
The recruiting part wasn't hard because, again, a lot of people want to be a part of history. So they're like, oh, first team in school history. That sounds cool. And then you add on South Padre Island, where you can enjoy the beach. And the Valley has a lot of nice places too. Interbury, McAllen, there's a lot of nice spots to go to. So, all that combined together, it creates a pretty attracting destination for recruits to want to come down here and play Division I football.
Yeah. You just don't want them too distracted because, downtown McAllen, I don't know what the age group is there or not, but they're, a lot younger than me, of course. But you don't want your players to end up over there on Saturday night after the game and getting in trouble and all that. But I guess that would be, they're young and they want to have fun. And South Padre Island for sure. Mm-hmm. But we're looking forward to it. I'm curious, there are a lot of people out there from the Rio Grande Valley are going to watch this podcast and so forth. What would be your advice for those high school kids this senior year? What should they do differently, or what advice would you give them if they want to try out for next year? What's the process? But first of all, maybe what's the first advice that you would want to give them to, some hopefulness, right?
Mhm.
Some,
You know, I know it sounds cliche, but don't let anyone tell you can't do nothing because I had, middle school teachers. I told them, yeah, I'm gonna go play Division 1 football one day. And they're like, that's gonna be hard. Nobody's ever done it from here. So if you really want something, you will do whatever it takes to go do it. And my second piece of advice is be different. Work out 2 or 3 times a day. You know, be be the lame kid. Don't follow the crowd. Stick in school, right? Listen to your parents. Okay. Stay away from all the bad stuff that's going to get you in trouble. That's what's going to help you separate yourself from the rest of all the other kids that want to play football as well.
I have to agree strongly with you, coach. Really strong with that. I can, agree to that or feel it. When you say be different, to me, in my interpretation, to be different, all successful people are different. When other people get challenged, it says, no, don't do this or don't do that. As long as it's a positive thing, a successful thing, and you want to drive to it, you turn all that noise off and you stay focused on your goals to achieve your goals. You dream to motivate you. Like what motivates you? This is, I guess, me speaking to anybody that wants to be successful out there is when you have to do something that motivates you to get you through the day and the challenges of all the negativism that you might face, the noise, the social media, the negative friends, negative family, and all that to be successful. What do you think?
So a big thing that I really live by is I don't have to do this. I get to do this. So I have the opportunity to coach at UTRGV. I have the opportunity to be a mentor. I have the opportunity to be a limelight in someone's life, in these kids' lives. So I get to do that. And by me thinking like that, I'm grateful for everything that I do. I'm grateful for all the opportunities that I get to have. And so when you really change your mindset from, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that, to, no, I get to do this, it makes you a little bit more appreciative of what you have going on in life.
Yeah, every day is a gift, and you really have to accept and really think about that because have you ever seen those what are they called, reels, where you have physically challenged people and they're still managing to work? Like there's one video I've seen of this guy. He's carrying cement bags. He has missing a leg and he's using a crutch. And that's when I say, well, what's your excuse? What's your excuse? You have all the legs and arms. You have everything. What's your excuse of stopping? To being successful or what have you?
And another thing I go by too is if someone wishes to be in your shoes. So live
Yeah.
your life to the fullest. Everything you have, everything, it's a blessing. It's opportunities for you to maximize your potential. So when I say, think to myself, yeah, there's someone that wishes to be in your shoes. Like, okay, damn. Like, let me be more grateful for what I have. Let me be more appreciative of what I get to do.
Yes, I certainly believe that. So for the high school kids right now, the seniors, I don't know if are they still called two a days, something like that, with the preconditioning and they're practicing.
Mhm.
And for that, uh, you know, potential player for college team, he might be thinking, just an example. Well, coach, I'm already doing all that. I'm already practicing and doing what my coach at high school is telling me. You're telling them be different. So what advice would you give them at that point?
For the seniors that are out there, most importantly, have fun. This is your last high school season that you're ever going to get. You're going to get one of these in your lifetime. So enjoy the memories, enjoy every practice, enjoy every workout, enjoy every bad workout that you're going to have, but you got to enjoy everything because in a blink of an eye, it's going to go by fast. You're going to be turning in your equipment at the end of your last game and you'd be like, damn, I wish I had more time. I wish I had, I wish I was able to slow down time. So I would just enjoy every moment, embrace everything with your teammates, every hangout, every film session, every bus ride of the game. And to be more different, you just have to want it more than others, right? Because again, you're competing with other kids in your class that want the same thing like you. So what's going to separate you from the rest? It's got to be your work ethic, your dedication, your discipline. That's what's going to separate you, and that's what's going to propel you to the top and help you get noticed faster.
Yes, I certainly agree with that. And what's your opinion? Do you feel there's enough potential talent in the Rio Grande Valley to keep fueling the Vaqueros every year? What do you see out there?
There's quite a bit of kids that are unseen, unnoticed, and that's what kind of helped me make this decision to come down here to the UTRGV Vaqueros, is because you know, like myself and the coaching staff and this team, this program in general, we have the opportunity to put the valley on the map. Right when I was in Washington and when I came back from Texas State in San Marcos, I asked him, "You know where McAllen's at, Edinburgh at?" Like, no. I'm like, "You know where South Padre?" "Oh yeah, I know about South Padre." Well, this is our opportunity to put the valley on the map, to
Mm-hmm.
kind of let people know, hey, like we're down here. We're deep down here in South Texas, but we're here. And
Yes.
I think, and I'm not just the only kid that's been out of the valley to play football. Gunnar Henderson, Trevor Spates, Campbell Spates, you name it. Miles Lopez. There's kids out there that have made it out to play Division I football, and so I say for the kids, just look at those examples. It's doable, right? If people have done it before you, it's doable.
Can you tell us a little bit about your starting quarterback? Who is he and where is he from?
Yeah, so I mean, right now we ain't got no starting quarterback. We're still a competition, but
Oh, it's up for grabs.
mhm.
Okay. Is it down to two, three, four of them?
It's about three or so. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting kind of see those guys battle out all throughout fall camp. And I know whichever one's named the starter, it's gonna be fun to watch them light it up for the
So,
Vaqueros.
has any of the starting positions been already decided? Or
Uh,
everything's up for grabs?
yeah.
So, teach us a bit because I'm not, privy to it. Explain that process to us, for the general public that's watching the podcast right now. So, none of them have been selected. It's all up for grabs. So, how does that work out of there uh, so they can gain that starting position?
Yeah, well, our mentality is, whoever knows the plays is gonna play. It don't matter if you're less athletic than the guy next to you. If you know what to do and you're able to execute it at 110%, you're gonna play and you're gonna start. So, with that being said, right, the guys that are in the playbook more, the guys that are sharp on the field, being able to communicate, right, what's going on, those are gonna end up being our starters.
Okay. And then you're pretty confident as far as the depth. Like if he gets injured, you have your second and your third team ready
Mhm.
practicing.
Yeah, so we have depth at every position, 2 or 3 guys that are ready to step in at any position, and I'm confident in the guys that our coaching staff brought in to the Rio Grande Valley, and I'm kinda anxious to kinda see it all come together on the field. I know it's gonna be fun.
Okay. I'm just kind of curious, a little different subject. So in college games, there's usually like a college band. Is there going to be a halftime show like a band? Does UTRGV have one?
I know
How's that going to play out?
I know we have a band. Um, they could potentially, uh, come out with a halftime show. I'm just, now I'm anxious to kinda hear because again, I'm a graduate from Texas State, so I'm kinda anxious to see our fight songs, when we score touchdowns or before a game, after a game. It's gonna be kind of fun to see that college atmosphere that I was in now being brought down here to my hometown.
Yeah, I was expecting like a real vaquero, real cowboy running down the football stadium on a horseback.
Hey, that would be nice. If our school president hears this, that's not a bad idea. That'd be fun to see.
Yeah. How about the cheerleaders? Is there a cheerleading squad? College?
I believe so. Yeah, I know every college team has cheerleaders, dancers. So to see that all come together, and I'm also kind of curious to see how our student section is going to be. I know a lot of student sections around the college football in general are kind of crazy and they get rowdy. So I hope ours is loud and being able to scream for 4 quarters. And yeah,
Oh, that looks
that's
awesome.
our
That looks
stadium right
beautiful
there.
right
So
there. That
um,
looks beautiful. A lot of pride there.
and I'm impressed to see. I'm impressed to see how you know, the people have been able to build this stadium, right, to make this kind of come to life. And like you see right there, 2025 is on the jumbotron.
Yeah.
To think that when our head coach, Coach Bush, got hired in 2022, 2025 seemed like a long way from then. But 3 years have flown by, and we're ready to start playing somebody.
So did you get here right around that time? Like how much time have you been here preparing for this?
Yeah, so I just got down 2 months ago. So I've spent this last season at Texas State University. I was able to help out with the cornerback room. I was able to travel to every game, play at NRG Stadium where the Texans play. I traveled to Virginia playing Old Dominion. So the opportunity to kind of see the behind the scenes of a FBS program like Texas State, a program that's gonna continue to win for many years was amazing to see, and I'm grateful for the opportunity because I've learned so much from that staff also.
Yeah, I can imagine, coach. I can imagine. So you're going to be able to pick out when they're nervous that first game, these freshmen, right? So you've been there in their shoes. What advice are you going to tell those players to relax them?
What helped me was once you get that first hit out the way, you're good. So should I tell her, hit somebody and you'll be okay.
There you go and get started.
Mm.
For many years, because I graduated from this university, and it took years. For so many years, they would talk about it. There was whispers that were thinking about it. Do you know why it took so long?
I don't, I never thought there'd be a program down here, but for our first game to be 43 days away now, it's kind of crazy to see you know, how much this community has kind of poured into this program,
Yeah.
the university, and how much, recognition we've received because of that. And I know just like the program is, but everyone else in the valley is excited for this moment, August 30th.
Yeah, I think the general public is going to probably be rowdier.
Oh yeah.
You've seen the football games here in the Rio Grande Valley. They're rowdier than the student section. Student section is probably going to be excited, but they might be a little bit more relaxed. I think in my opinion, it might be getting a little crazier is the local parents, because now they're going to be, a lot closer. So you're going to be having a lot of parents like in, the youth football games where the parents get all riled up and they start yelling and fighting and all that. So it's going to be an interesting twist here in the Rio Grande Valley in the 956.
No doubt.
Can you imagine there on ESPN, making all kinds of scenes and where they don't agree with a call or something? It's going to be very interesting to see how all of that plays out.
One thing I can count on is I know our fans are going to be rowdy all 4 quarters, and that's going to end up giving opposing teams some trouble. So I hope our fans bring it every game.
Yeah, and so be careful because mix in with alcohol. They're going to be selling alcohol there. So that's going to be very, very interesting. I think it's going to be so unique. Here in the Rio Grande Valley, we're very unique and different. Our culture is a subculture, very different from the rest of the state, the rest of the nation. And so it's going to be fun.
No doubt.
It's going to be fun to watching it all play out. So what else should we expect, Coach, from this first game and the first season?
We should expect our players to give it 110% every game, to go out there ready to execute, and let's just make this community proud. We're excited for all the fans to back us up, for this community to back us up. Can't wait to go out there and put on a show.
Okay, so they have it. Well, we have the mascot, the Vaqueros, but an actual Vaquero, I guess, to play off, they haven't picked one or so forth. Like UT, they have what's it called? That bull.
Oh, Bevo.
Bevo.
Yeah.
We're gonna have like a Bevo version of a horse coming out when they score or something.
That'd be cool. But yeah, I don't know. I know for the games this year, I'm probably gonna embrace the Vaquero, mantra. So I'll probably wear boots pregame, boots, a little hat.
So where can we as fans go buy all the merch, like the shirts and the caps? And thank you for bringing a cap out here to demonstrate. But do you know where we can find some merch, to support the team?
Yeah, we have a store across the street on University called Vaquero Outfitters, and
Oh,
we
okay.
actually get a lot of our hats there, and they've helped us out with some stuff, and they have discounts for us too. And so I encourage all the fans. I want to rep the Vaquero logo, the merch, that to go out to the Outfitters store on University and go cop
Yeah.
yourself something.
Yeah, for sure. That's for sure. But the colors, how did they come up with it? Well, I guess that's the university colors, right?
Yeah.
So we have a silver helmet, the white one, and the orange. So I guess the home games would be the white.
We could mix it up, right? But I think our home jerseys are gonna be orange. So our home jerseys will be orange. Our aways will be white, and then we have alternate ones. The gray unis have not been seen yet, so stay tuned to those because those look pretty sick.
Okay, coming soon
Coming
too.
soon to a stadium.
All right, Coach Micah. So something else I wanted to expand about is your brother. Okay, your brother's a player. So what's his name?
Miles Lopez, and he's currently a quarterback there at Stephen F. Austin University in Nacogdoches.
Okay, well, tell us how he feels about you being a coach and that you're going to be one of the teams he plays against.
Yeah. So, well, first and foremost, I love my brothers. We've had a close bond since we were little. Nothing's really separated us, and that's what I kind of cherish about our relationship is we're friends. We're friends first and brothers second. So we're friends by choice, blood by chance. So I think that's what made us super close. Um, Again, we cherish every time we're together, and this is actually the first time we're all apart. So we have, me down here in the valley, of my middle brother in San Marcos, but he has a semester left finishing at Texas State. And then my little one that's a quarterback there in Nacogdoches. So it's new, but we still talk every day. We still I ask him how he's doing. I ask all of them how they're doing. But I mean, it's exciting, to be able to play your brother. It's first of all, it's an opportunity for our families, our family to see that happen, for our parents to be able to witness their sons go against each other in a college football game. I know they're very proud of us, and I know I've already had family members ask for tickets, and it's gonna be an away game, so they're gonna have to buy those tickets in advance. But I know we're both very excited for that game.
Well, that's going to be a big story right there. Brother against brother. And we should expand on that because, the dynamics of that. And another thing, you guys are like the local Mannings, man. The local Mannings, like there seems to be now football tradition in the family. You're establishing a big tradition. So how did that start? Where's the origins? Was it your dad or would you and your brothers, like how was it at home? Y'all would watch the NFL games or so tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so my family's always been football fanatics. Started with my dad. He was a graduate from PSJA High, the Bears in '93. He was a stud there for the Bears. And then really when we were younger, right, my dad was a big Texas Longhorn fan. My mom was a big Michigan Wolverine fan. So best believe it, every weekend, every Saturday, we have a college football game on our TV in the living room, and we're all stuck to it. Little kids, like we wouldn't watch no cartoons, like put on a college football game. And when we were little, about 7 or 8 years old, my dad formed a team in the PSJ area called the PSJA Longhorns, and off of his favorite team, the Texas Longhorns. So we were able to grab a lot of kids from our area. It was an opportunity for us to play at a young age, and that's where I guess our love for the game kind of started. Playing so young, our dad being our first coach, our mom was the cheerleading coach for our organization. So just football being around the family started with our parents, and I'm just grateful for that because I mean football has opened a lot of doors for me and my family. So it's been a blessing.
Well, coach, I'm going to be the first one to call it. Okay. You guys are going to be the future local Rio Grande Valley, the Mannings. Okay. And what I mean when I say that is that football tradition, right? In the future, you have your nephews or your future kids. I don't, have you ever, are you married?
I'm not married.
Not
No,
married.
22 years old,
You're
but
well,
yeah.
you know, and I'm calling it first to remember here on the Delta Oaks podcast. Okay, you're gonna be that football tradition, the Rio Grande Valley, and I'm pretty sure there's many others here. You know, but this is exciting because you know you're making history, right? The first football college team here locally, and that story you're gonna play against your brother, so you're making history. That first story, right? So have you talked to your brother? How does he feel about it? What is his interpretation about when you guys are gonna face up? Is he telling you, "I'm gonna take you down," or anything like? Are you telling him that, or
You know, we like playfully joke with each other, like, "Hey, we're gonna blitz you all night long." You know, it ain't gonna be fun, but you know, that's my brother. At the end of the day, I love him, but I know he's still getting everything situated over there. You know, he just moved up there about a month ago to start summer workouts, and he's still a true freshman. So I know he's excited to be playing college football too, because I know it's been a dream of his as well to be able to play at the next level. So
yeah?
um,
So on that first game, coach, where are your parents gonna sit? What side of the stadium?
I think they'll probably half will be on my side, half will be on his side. I think there'll probably be shirts with
Oh, you guys are
both
being smart.
both our logos being split down the middle. Like my mom's creative, she'll probably figure it out. I know we have a lot of family that already plans to go up for that game just because it's gonna be big for our family. So that's gonna be exciting. I can't wait for that one.
So I'm curious. Tell me a little bit about your dad. Graduate of 1993.
Mhm.
You know, what kind of football tradition did your father instill in you that you feel you still carry on right now?
Yeah, so you know, he played football growing up. And he was really one of my first coaches. Like I remember when we were 9, 10 years old, he would bring he would take me and my brothers to a field at our local like high school, wherever we were staying at, and we would just do drills. And you know, we would hit the ladder, we would just catch the ball, and it was just and to us, we didn't see it as work. We thought it was fun. We just wanted to go out there and catch the ball. He kind of instilled that into us at an early age, and that kind of carried with us to now we got to middle school. We were asking, "Hey, let's go to a field. Let's go work out." In high school, "Hey, let's can we go work out twice a day?" You know, we were constantly always doing something with football. We were in the front yard throwing the football around, playing games. That was kind of what we did around the house and how we kind of, I guess, cured our boredom.
Yeah. And that's very important, I think, to do here in the Rio Grande Valley is trying to stay active because, you know, health here is so important. Like we have one of the most local, you know, high rates of all kinds of diseases, and diabetes being one of those. So trying to instill that to keep the family active and physical is super important. But going back to your father, so what kind of career did your father have? Some sort of football career? Did he ever try out for college or wanted to?
He didn't go play college football, but he went to UTSA, finished school there. He's working, insurance, doing his thing for our family. My mom, works sales, and she's doing her thing for our family as well. And I've been blessed with two great parents, and without them, I wouldn't be here. I know I've relied on them heavy growing up, college especially. It was hard being by myself a lot of the time. So they've really both helped me get to a point to where I'm in a position to where I can set myself up for success.
Well, that's beautiful. I mean, family to me is so important. Keeping the family together is challenging enough as it is, you know. So kudos to your parents. They did an awesome job. Awesome job. So kudos to them. How many brothers and sisters are in your family? So how many brothers do you have?
So I have two brothers.
Two brothers.
Yeah.
Any sisters?
No sisters, just
So there's
all
three of you.
yes.
The trio.
Trio, yes. So
Okay.
if you saw one of us, you probably saw, two of us, or you at least saw two of us together. That's how close we are. I know when I was in college by myself, my two brothers were here together for quite a while, and I stayed with my middle brother who's currently still at Texas State. We had an apartment together at Texas State, so I was always with one of my brothers. So that's just how close we've been growing up. That's how close we are now, and I'm grateful for that
Mm.
relationship we have with each other.
Okay. And your brothers, where one of them is playing, right?
Yes.
He's going to play against you. And your other brother?
He's finishing school. He's gonna go into physical therapy. So he's gonna finish school in December, and then join the workforce. Or actually, he's like kind of go into more schooling, so to get that physical therapy degree after that. So
That's great. That's great. So what are your fondest, greatest memories? Which one is the first one that said, "Hey, I want to do this. I want to be a football player." Was it in junior high or high school?
I really knew I had something when I was a freshman, and excuse me, I was in eighth grade, and my dad, he wanted me to just look at the PSJA North Raider practices. So we would go by in eighth grade when I couldn't do nothing, just watch. And I knew I wanted to play Friday Night Lights. I was like, yeah, this is cool. Like, I want to do this. And as I started to gain the recognition in high school, I was like, you know what? Like, I want to continue playing. Like, I feel like I had the opportunity. I feel like I was blessed with, the abilities to do that. And so I really just kind of worked at it. I was like, once I really found myself making the plays I needed to make, I was like, okay, like I feel like I can do this longer. So that's when I really started to be more harder on myself and was able to push myself further.
So that was around eighth grade.
Eighth grade. Yeah.
Okay. And then in high school, where do you think was your best memory in high school?
Uh, my best memory in high school, even though it was cut short, it had to have been my senior year, just because you always remember your senior year, and I'm still close to a lot of my senior class. We still talk about our high school days sometimes. Just whenever we do catch up, and it's always fun to kind of talk about that stuff because I never really I never really understood. My dad was like, you're gonna miss high school. I'm like, yeah, okay, but now I do. I'm like, I just miss like the memories, the friendships that were made during high school. That was probably the best, the funnest parts, honestly.
Have you kept up with your friends from high school?
Oh yeah, yeah. We talk quite a bit. So, and they're all doing very successful things, and I'm proud of all of them. They're all doing better than everybody thought we were gonna do. So it's always a plus.
Yeah, that's important to be, so, do out there what you love, right?
Mhm.
And, it's challenging here in the Valley because sometimes there's not that much opportunity. But the things are changing. Now we're going to have this opportunity for kids to play college football. We have SpaceX in the Rio Grande Valley.
Yeah.
The university is expanding. So there's a lot of also manufacturing jobs and et cetera. So that's great. And then what was one memory when you started playing college football? What's your best memory there?
So I had a I had a welcome to college football moment in Washington State. It was practice, and I it was during the scrimmage, and it was called a tag tempo. So you're not allowed to tackle the dude. You're only allowed to touch him, and the play's dead, right? And that's to keep everybody safe, so nobody gets hurt when they fall on the ground. So I'm like, all right, cool. I get in the scrimmage, and I meet the running back in the hole, and it was dumb, but I made the tackle. Boom, hit him on the ground.
Really?
Felt I was cool. Like, yeah. And then my head coach comes into my face, like, "What are you doing, son? Like, you're supposed to tag him." And I didn't practice the rest of the day. So I was like, damn, like these dudes take this serious. So that was my welcome to college moment. But I learned after that, like, okay, whenever a coach says something, I have to listen. If I don't, I'm not gonna play. So
Do you think that was a little bit of the Rio Grande Valley in you, of the 956?
could have been like it could have been also me just being stubborn. So,
Yeah, a little stubbornness,
little
right? There's a little
stubbornness.
stubbornness here in the Rio Grande Valley, right? But yeah, that's super interesting. So coach, some of the other things that I'm interested, do you take any type of like extra supplements? There's so many different variations of supplements now, even like, hydrogen water, different techniques for PT, physical training. What kind of advice would you give to the younger generation in high school? What things should they not do other than the obvious, no drugs and
Yeah.
so forth? But do you encourage maybe good supplements, a good workout ethic?
I really like the secret to getting big is just to eat more. Like I know when I got to Washington State, I was 210, and in a span of 3 months, I got to 230. So I gained a
Wow,
20
20
pounds in
pounds.
about 4 or 5 months. So really, the secret to that is just to eat. Yeah, you can take the protein powders, which is cool, right? It's cool to supplement that every once in a while, but it's really just to eat and drink water. A lot of these kids don't realize how much drinking water is beneficial for you. Not only you hydrated, but
Water.
yeah, water. Your body's made up of 70% water, so your
Mhm.
body needs it just as much
Yeah.
just to function.
So, you feel taking, protein, if you need it, is good.
Mhm.
What's that other one to bulk up, that other powder? I forget what it's
Oh,
called, the
creatine.
creatine. What are your thoughts on what's your opinion on creatine?
Creatine's good. Your body naturally makes creatine whenever you eat red meat, but with creatine, you just have to really drink a lot of water because it
Mhm.
can kind of because creatine really kind of it drags all the water from your muscles, and it drags all the water. I'm sorry, all the water from your bloodstream into your muscles to kind of give you that puffed up look. So you kind of have to intake more water when you are taking creatine.
So, do you feel it's a good advantage to take creatine and protein for those kids that want a chance, an opportunity to play in college?
Yeah, I do see those benefits. I know I took creatine growing up, and it kinda helped me gain a little bit more weight, a little bit more power, but you also kinda have to be more disciplined with drinking the water, staying more hydrated than you were, like, before getting on creatine.
Yeah. Yep. And what kind of different workouts do you recommend?
So, like, the most underrated workout is just running sprints, being conditioned, especially if you wanna be different, you gotta be able to play 4 quarters 110%. When coaches see your level of playing drop down because you're tired, they're like, okay, this kid doesn't condition as much. But when they see you running sideline to sideline, scoring touchdowns, making plays for 4 quarters of a game, they're like, okay, he's got the motor to play. And so, really, just running sprints, lifting with your team, right? And then doing the extra stuff at home, push ups. If you want to run more at home, like the extra stuff, the extra workouts that you do aside from the team workouts, I think that's what helps. That's what's going to help kids separate themselves from the rest of their peers.
Do you personally still keep up with physical, training, PT?
I try to, our job is kind of busy. I try to, but I also don't eat as much as I used to. So my body's kind of stayed a little slim.
Hmm.
So, because whenever I was playing, I was eating kind of close to 3,500 or 4,000 calories a day, just because of the workload that you're being put on as far as practice, workouts, right? All that stuff. You don't realize it, but you drop so much weight because of those workouts. So you have to really refuel your body with all those calories you burn, and even more just to gain weight.
Well, me at my age, I tried to stay physical, as much, but it because of health,
Yeah, no doubt.
not looks, nothing else, but just health, right?
Mhm.
But coach, it's such a damn challenge in the Rio Grande Valley because we still work and to make time during lunch to prep your meals,
Mhm.
the meal preps and all the restaurants is just fattening food, man.
Yeah.
So how do you do it?
Just I would, I kind of stay disciplined. I know I'll make myself like a meal prep, right? With the help of, TikTok recipes, just looking up meal prep ideas.
But wouldn't you agree it's a challenge?
It is. There's a lot of, spots that will kind of deter the route of trying to stay healthy. They'll kind of, distract you from that. So, but really, I just meal prepped, right? Not eat as much. Really not eat as much junk, like all the chips, sodas. I really don't really partake in trying to eat those anymore. Growing up, my parents never let us have a soda to begin with, so I never really like grew up to like sodas or junk food like that. So it's really not in what I want to eat.
Yeah. And I want to back it up a little bit, coach, about we touched on it. Faith, your religious faith. How has that played a part for you?
My faith is everything. I mean, There's been times to where I know I couldn't have done it alone, and it's crazy because I know when I was asking for an opportunity, when I interviewed for the GA spot here at UTRGV, I asked God, I'm like, if this if this position is really for me, like just let the door open. If it's meant for me, let all doors open. If it's not, keep it closed. It's not meant for me. The next day, I got offered the job. So that's when I knew, like, okay, this is for me. I know it's in God's plan, and I've never been more excited to kind of be a part of something just because I know it's from it's from God.
But have you always had this strong faith, this religious faith?
And I'm not a perfect Christian. There's been days to where I don't, I question it sometimes, but my mom has done a very big, big part in like still instilling that. I go to church every Sunday. So just with her influence growing up, with all the hardships you deal with, being in college for the first time, being away from home, like it kind of makes you like rely on something bigger than yourself, bigger than your family. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for those times because it made me find God, made me rely on Him more. And, our relationship is just getting better every day. Just me talking to Him, reading the Bible, praying.
So, your parents instilled the faith in you. Were you pretty much practicing Catholics, going to church on Sundays? Is that how that started? Or
Yeah. So I know my dad, in high school, me and my brothers, we got baptized in high school, which is, it's might be kind of late for some, but we got baptized there. And then we went through a communion to the Catholic Church, and then we went through a confirmation, all that in high school. So really, that's what started it. And my mom, we would go to her church also. So we would go to different churches, and then um, now, like in college, I was always trying to find a student ministry. Trying to find people like me that are in college that want to find God as well. And what also kind of helped me too was like the FCA, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Like
yes.
when you see other student athletes like yourself trying to find God, like I found people that are like me. So that's what also helped start my faith. And I can't be more thankful for all those to happen.
Yeah, faith is a very important to have in one's life. Do you find that your players have faith? Do they practice? Do you all pray before practice? Or
We do, yeah. We pray after, and we really just pray for the opportunities we have. We're just grateful for being in this position where we pray for it to be injury free. And that's really the most important thing, is just to be grateful for everything and to be injury free at the end of the day.
so, what would you consider to be your biggest challenge now that you're coach here?
The biggest challenge, in my opinion, is just, now I have a lot more on my plate because I'm a graduate assistant. And the challenge is, we have expectations, right? But to me, our job is to really not look at those expectations, because people can expect a lot from you, but it ain't what, like, we ain't trying to impress the people. We ain't trying to impress the naysayers out there. We're trying to do what's right for our program, what our mantra goes by. Like, we're trying to fulfill our pyramid of success. So that's what we're really trying to get installed through this season.
Yeah. Well, how challenging is it right now dealing with the stress? Because you have a lot of expectations on the whole Rio Grande Valley on you guys to do well. Does that take a toll on you? Like, do you stop and does it stress you? And I'm like, oh man, we better kick ass, man, because everybody's counting on us. We want to do well.
It makes me kind of excited, like, yeah, you know, bring on the doubts. We were picked last in conference in the preseason conference rankings.
Really?
Yeah, so but that's to be fair because we've never played a game before. So no one's ever seen how we play. So that's fuel to us too. Like, nobody really believes in us but us, our own program, this community. They believe in us, we believe in ourselves. So really, we're not really worried about the expectations. We're just gonna go out there and quietly accomplish the goals that we are gonna set out here shortly when fall camp starts.
So which player is the farthest away that has has to travel to come to the Rio Grande Valley? How far has he come?
So we have a safety. He's from Tacoma, Washington, Elijah Graham. He That's Tacoma, Washington. That's by Seattle. So that's kind of the same state I was at in Washington State. So that's up almost 2,000 miles away. And then we just recently also grabbed a transfer from Maine University, which is Northeast Dorian Blackwell. So those are on two opposite ends of the country. So
That's really far.
farthest. Yeah.
And how are they? Do you feel that it's even stretching them out? All the expectations?
I think they're embracing it. I think our guys are really embracing the opportunity that they have in front of them, which is to be able to play football, one, and two, to be able to put on again for this university in their first year program. So I think they've embraced the opportunity. They're embracing the expectations, and we're just excited to see them go out there and kind of put out for the community to see what we know what they can do.
Yeah. And what would you like to let the whole Rio Grande Valley know about this year? What to expect from the Vaqueros?
Just to expect some pretty damn good football here. A lot of flying around, 110% on the field, and you're going to be expecting some fireworks pretty
Okay.
soon.
Well, thank you very much for coming to join us here on the podcast, Coach. We're excited to go see those first football games here locally. And for those that didn't get tickets, we can watch live on ESPN Plus.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know how much that costs, but I think it'll be very well worth it to watch it. And thank you again. And you're always welcome here. And don't forget, I called it first
Thank you
on that football tradition. Okay.
Yeah, thank you for having
Well,
us.
thank you so much, Coach. I appreciate it very much.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.